Yes, hi, I'm Tuck Fard. This is the Tuck Fard podcast, and I've got a very special guest today, Mr. Matthew Jackson.
Yes.
Matthew Jackson. My memory is kind of fuzzy at best.
You'll have that from time
at times. And I'm glad to have you on today. See, we were talking about how we had some brief conversations about addiction and whatnot, and how some really beautiful people have their struggles with it.
Dude, the best.
So I have met some beautiful people in a trap house. You know?
100%.
Some beautiful people. Some people that you couldn't not love now. But we also talked about how you were pretty big involved in this bourbon, whiskey.
So, yes. I guess that depends on who you're talking to. I, myself, not to
come in a little bit more into the frame, yeah.
Not necessarily to toot my own horn, I guess, but
Pretty
I was able to earn the label and title of head distiller, without being born into that industry, without being super wealthy, solely because of hard work. I worked really hard and sacrificed a lot to get to where I was at. Unfortunately, for now, I'm paying the price for those sacrifices and shit.
To stop you just for a second, is it difficult to become a head distiller? Like, you mentioned without having a bunch of money, is there traditionally?
Well, you don't typically
the people who end up with that job kind of thing. Is it almost like an elite sort of thing?
Well, there's a lot of the nepotism and good old boy stuff, that old saying, oh, you got to know somebody, and there's a lot of truth to that. And not taking anything away from any of those folks, because they're all good people, man. You and I talked on it briefly there a few minutes ago. Not only was the job itself just fun and cool, the people that you meet, man, I met some of the coolest people. You would never think in a million years that these guys are spending the majority of their time in suit and ties, black tie affairs. These are just down to earth, good people. But just to kind of, so if you really want to talk about it from the start of it, so.
Can I see that marijuana cigarette, please, sir? This is a beautiful thing. I can tell you've not had enough cannabis today.
I have not.
Yeah, go ahead, settle on in. Get in your groove. Get in your groove. Groove it up. Yeah, if you want cold beer, there's one right there. We got the cold Keystone Light. I just picked this up a 30 rack. Yeah. Oh.
So,
Uno reverse. Uno reverse.
Got me.
I got you. Isn't that cool about how cannabis can just straight up, it's a social lubricant, bro.
Man, it breaks the ice on so many things.
It fucking does.
Which is kind of weird because, all right, so I told you a while ago I got to watch it because I'll get off on too many different things. So
that's okay. We have an hour to fill, at least.
Oh, man, we could do this again then. So,
probably will.
That this area that we live in here, Nelson County, has always had opportunity for people if you want to,
pursue
it. But for years there was always kind of like a limit. Everybody just kind of tops out, no matter what you're doing, whether you're in construction or concrete work, that includes pouring flat work or basement walls, and I've done all that. So I had my first child when I just turned 19. My wife was 18. She was my girlfriend at the time, fiance. And, not long after that, I had my second child. I was 20, almost 21. And so that was in 2008 when the economy crashed.
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah.
It's like every damn time they get one of the donkey guys, or the donkey guys in there,
dude,
the economy crashes.
And I don't want to get...
It's every damn fucking time.
Yeah, I know. And I don't want to get political, but, man, how many times you going to keep smashing your fucking finger in the door before you realize you got to move your fucking finger?
Yeah.
People want to bitch about current situations, but keep voting the same people.
Problem is, it
doesn't matter if it's blue or red or whatever else.
How deep does the rabbit hole go?
They're all the same.
You know, there's this illusion of choice, I think. You know, but I am starting to really believe that the whole thing's a facade built by these same old-ass members of government that have been in there forever and on knocking on death's door.
100%.
And there's every chance in the world that the rest of it's a psyop. And then all of a sudden they die off and everything's fine.
Dude, they've gotten really good at teaming up and keeping our country divided. So you got one side that's red and one side that's blue, no matter what.
One side that's got money, one side that don't.
Right, rich, poor, black, white, men, women, you know.
You segregate, shit's segregated on so many levels.
Division, no matter how you look at it, financially, with all of it, no matter how you look at it. Yeah. So, anyway, so I tried to do some factory work in 2008. I typically poured concrete. At this time, I was doing some mechanic work for a living.
That's cool. You can actually pour piss. What you can do is piss in a bottle and you can pour it out that door. Ask me how I know.
Bro, I've had rides.
I hit a car, I think.
I've had rides. Did you just piss in the floor? You didn't have to worry about
piss right through
it. You know, they were that nasty, that bad. Oh well, it happens. But so I got a job installing appliances for a company here in Bardstown. It was a great job, man. Good people. It was a family-owned business. Man, they were really good to me, which I knew the family anyway. You know, but they were good to us.
There is a just way of Appalachian sort of life that had occurred around here later than it did, I feel like, in other areas of the nation.
And it hung around.
Yeah, it hung
around. You know, like if you're, like you're
talking 80s and houses still don't have running water kind of
absolutely.
Shit.
Man.
You know, 80s.
90s. My parents still don't. My parents have to get. My parents and my little brother have to have Starlink. They live 5 miles down the road. They have to have. They don't have cable television. You know. One of the richest counties in the state.
You're talking about Starlink, like Elon Musk's Starlink. You want to hear a silly, funny story about Starlink? So, throughout my post quitting crystal methamphetamine times, it's been a bit of a mental health journey for me, because once you burn your shit so much, you're kind of a different person. So like getting stable, just getting sustainably clean, that's one thing I think is missing out of rehabs.
California sober? Is that what you're talking about? Sustainably clean.
Like, I want to be clean off crystal meth for the rest of my God-given days.
Yes.
But there's like making sure it stays that way, not just I ain't doing drugs right now.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Right.
I want it, you know.
Right. Well, they need to find out so look, man, the number one thing that I have found, the common denominator amongst all addicts, no matter what your poison is, right? No matter uppers, downers, whatever. Nobody wants to get to the root cause of why they default back to using drugs every time they get in a situation.
Solace.
Whether it's either, look, I don't know about you, but there's been times I have been sober and clean, and even off of pot. I'm talking 100%, man, and be at the peak of the happiest I've ever been.
And then fuck it all up, because it always fucks up.
For whatever reason,
it will always fuck up. So if I fuck it up, well, I can control the descent.
Or if you're up there, you're like, man, just a taste would make this so much better. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't done it in X amount of time. I ain't done it in X amount of time. I'm sure I can just do it once or twice.
Just a taste, just to kind of make me feel better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's the one fucking rock that breaks the whole glass, I guess. If you
every time, man.
Every time. You can't, like.
But what I was getting at is nobody wants to try to figure out the root cause of what makes people do that.
Complain about addiction, but don't worry about figuring out why you.
Right, you know, like
addiction.
If I cut myself, I go to the hospital and get stitches, right? It's because I cut myself. It's not
physically.
You know what I mean? I know that's kind of a crude analogy, but it's, you know, that was an accident.
Right.
You know, when you do something like that, and I know that old saying, they're like, oh, well, if they want, they could just stop. buddy.
They really want
the start of it.
There's a mental illness.
So
it's hard.
100%. But the start of it is that simple. You know, you don't realize, you don't know what you're doing when you get into that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you.
Oh, like you don't. You know you're playing with fire, but nobody told you just
right.
hot that motherfucker is.
Well, they told you you're playing with fire, but they didn't tell you they soaked your fucking drawers in gasoline before you went out.
Yeah. Nobody. There was this, and especially for people I think our age, or in our 30s, the drug education shit that we got growing up. Bro. We're like, they demonized pot so much, and then we smoked pot and we didn't fucking die. You know what I mean?
And
it turns out they were just lying. It took away credibility.
Saying all the benefits of pot,
sure.
and and just like same thing with no different with psychedelics, mushroom, psilocybin. You know,
Amanita muscaria.
Look at what they're doing with ibogaine and ayahuasca.
Iboga.
Ibogaine is impressive.
And look, man, I've got close personal friends that have went and done those journeys, and that shit's not a joke. It's that's helping people.
People are fetishing or fetishizing, whatever the word is.
Fetish.
Yeah, they're fetishizing, whatever the fucking word is. But yeah, they're making it a fetish almost to go on these journeys of like, oh my god, I went with the friends, we had a journey, you got to come with us, we got to do it.
It's no different than every other drug. It's a trend,
and it needs to be a life-altering experience.
But you need to have a professional there.
Sure,
because it can 100% make shit worse if you're not careful.
That's got shaman in there.
Well, because I know so many people, man, just like eating mushrooms. Even when I was a kid growing up, which is crazy saying that. At 12, 13, we were already experienced enough that we know, hey man, if you're having a bad day, don't eat those mushrooms. That's not smart.
Yeah, you got to go in happy.
Yeah, you know we're going to be out there while you're fucking laying in the middle of the field, howling at the moon, scared to death.
Some of my best memories from friends, that I still remember this day is teenage drug use.
Oh, bro.
And being silly, but you do things. Think
it's almost rite of passage.
Right. Oh, of course, for me, the heaviest thing I ever did was coke, but the difference when you're a teenager and you're sneaking around smoking pot in a parked car in a neighborhood at any given point during the week, versus like how people do it now, where you're just at home and it's not a big deal.
So I'll tell you, just
time. Okay, we're hitting this pipe and it looks very interesting. I want to cover all this shit because I am too fucking high and I'm getting a little drunk.
Okay.
What are we smoking out of this pipe today?
So there's a piece of black Afghan hash in the bottom with a moon rock on top.
Did you say black Afghan hash?
Yeah.
And some moon rocks.
One moon rock.
Okay, covered by one of these $1 coins. This is pimp status. This is what this is. Okay. And what else are we talking about?
If you want to
let's zoom in on that.
Break a piece off over there if you want to.
Yeah, you can get in closer.
I found that, by the way. That
somebody threw that out their car window. Yeah. And this is THCA. Fuck you. Okay.
But 2018 farm.
It about looks like a cat turd. If you get me smoking a damn cat turd. And then there was something else. It was so fucking important at the time. Was the problem? Like there was something damn.
Well, he was talking about teenage drug use.
Drug use.
And they don't tell you the risks of it because you start off trying to fit in or whatever. Or in our case, that's what people don't realize. Man, people talk about, you can call it culture, you can call it whatever. And I'm hesitant on what exactly I'll say because, my parents started off young, having my sister and I, and, I've got a younger brother that's, 13, 14 years younger than me.
Oh.
So he was raised quite a bit different than we were. But I can give you a quick story here that when I was probably 12 or 13, maybe 14, at 14 at the oldest, I had two cousins that grew up right beside me, real close.
That's a fucking badass hash, bro.
Oh, yeah, you like that? Good.
Oh, yeah. You didn't, look, you could have told me.
That's pretty good stuff.
It's fucking, I went,
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh, Christ almighty.
Yeah.
My God in heaven.
So,
I'm so fucking glad. You want to know how I ended up inviting you on this podcast? I get requests for that shit all the damn time.
That's what I was going to try to build up to, that lead story.
Yeah.
The thing when I sent you and I was like, just to give you a taste.
You gave us shit to do that, you know. For future reference, this is how we're doing it now. You know, like, there is no... But fuck, damn it, I'm so glad we did, because we're over here. I'm about to have me a cold Keystone Light.
Man, I just like meeting
Sometimes you get a feeling. Sometimes, I swear, there are vibes.
You know?
There are whole vibes. There are vibes that are real.
Look, I was talking to a buddy. I was talking to a buddy the other day. My wife and I, when we first got together and were able to actually travel outside of our home area, we went on vacation. She used to get really irritated with me. You want a cigarette? No, sir. I'm good. I got some. I chew tobacco, but I drink a few after I smoke a few after I get drinking. But
I got.
Man, we would go out of town. We were in Florida, wherever, and I would run into people that I knew, you know, but you know, I could go into a crowd in a place I've never been, and I could find my people within a few minutes.
Vibrations.
You just get it. You just get it. I think you're looking for that, bro.
Yeah. Damn you.
Another one here.
Genuine Afghan hash.
So anyway, I was telling you,
That's got a taste to it that can only be made in Afghanistan.
It's pretty wild.
That's hand done.
Found on roadside.
That is handmade keeps. Or handmade. God damn.
You good?
Dude, I'm great.
Oh.
I'm great.
Oh.
This is probably the highest I've ever been on a podcast.
My pleasure.
But I'm high. I'm not, dude, I'm fucked up.
When you talk to people or you see people now that are my age that have struggled and with addiction and gotten better, you realize they didn't get into this stuff until they were in their 20s, hell, even some of them in their 30s. Man, I had already done and experienced more than most grown men by the time I was 13.
Sure.
You know, and like I told you, man, there's certain things that I don't mind talking about for the public to hear, but I definitely don't want to paint my parents out in a bad light, because they were doing the best they could. You know what I mean? They're not bad people. We had everything we needed, and most of all that we wanted. We didn't grow up wealthy by no means, you know, but anyway, at one point in our life, we had access to so much pot that we started off, we'd just sneak in there and get a little bud or two. You know? Well, by the time it was all said and done, within a few months, the guy that we were taking it from he came back around. He had been away, and it was like 20-something pounds shy.
Oh.
In just a few months. And we were 12, man, 11, 12. You know, we started dealing drugs mistakenly, because we had no idea that pot was worth money, because we had so much of it around. It was so readily available.
Like a middle-class family with scrap metal.
Yeah,
they don't know.
But we had a junkyard.
They don't know what they're sitting on.
Dude, we were raised right across from a country-ass junkyard. I got a funny-ass story about that, too.
Tell it.
So, this old man owned a junkyard right across the road from where we grew up. And the guy was a great old man. He would leave his garage open so we could come in and air our bicycle tires up and, you know, use his tools. He wasn't one of these creepy old pervy old man either.
Yeah,
like,
he was one of these, like giving you popsicles and shit.
No, he was a good dude.
Them's priceless. Look, those old timers are priceless. They hold a community together. It takes a village, you know.
100%.
Like, it takes a village to raise a child anymore, and it's hard to find a good village.
Well, we must have caught him on a bad day. We needed a bicycle tire, and he wanted like $15 or something for one, which back then was as much as a new one would cost, or more. Clearly, we just caught him on a bad day. We never once stopped to think about all that this old man had done for us since we were little bitty. We got pissed off over that one fucking tire because we caught him on a bad day. So we said, all right, we'll show you. That's when those Crossman slingshots that had the brace on your arm had just come out.
Stingers.
And you could get a bag of just plain glass marbles for like $0.25.
You can kill a bird with these, easy.
Oh, you can kill squirrels.
Yeah, so these are not...
Hell, man, there was a guy in the news.
This is not a rubber band and a stick.
There was a guy in the news got in trouble for killing his neighbor St. Bernard with one. Dude, they're bad, man, I'm telling you.
Yeah, they fuck shit up.
And then you could go to... There was a local store, man, general store, had everything. You could go down and get a box of 22 shells for 15 cents when I was a kid there.
I will never...
Marbles used to come in a green net bag, you know, about big, about the size of a softball, and they were like 10 cents a quarter, you know, just plain
and
clear marble.
And every one break of glass them, easy as fuck.
Yeah, and every one of them they had, you know, X amount of the little small ones, but they all had like 2 of the shooter marbles. You know, I don't know if y'all are familiar with marbles. But
yeah, them girthy bastards.
Yeah, we called them Aggies, is what we called them. So. Anyway, we went down, man. We shot every window, every light, every headlight. If it was glass, that bitch was fair game, and it was getting broke. Over a span of about 3 days. You know, we were dedicated.
Assholes.
We went back not only once, not twice, but 3 times, maybe more. In the last piece, man, this guy, he had owned a bar, so he had a big 2-way mirror that he had taken out of that bar and put in the back of his garage where he could look out at his lot. And one of us had shot it, but we barely caught it in a corner, so it just shattered. It was just spider web.
Was he sitting right the fuck there?
No.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
And so one of us actually grabbed a beer bottle, man, and it's like some shit you see in a cartoon or a TV. He threw this beer bottle, but when it went through the window, it was just perfect standing up straight. So it just left a straight. So this guy's window was just spider web with a perfect beer bottle print through it. right through the fucking middle of it, dude. We still didn't get caught. I tell you how we got caught, man, is one of the neighbors had stopped over there looking for a part and was walking around back there and seeing all that broken glass, started seeing all those fucking marbles, man.
Damn it. Yeah. You left
over a fucking bicycle tire. Never mind all the good shit and how much he'd helped us out.
And now you look back. You ever look back on doing something and be like, damn,
dude, the fun
I was being an asshole.
Oh fuck, man.
I was on some bullshit that day.
You know, like I'm sure you heard it growing up, but man, I remember getting my ass whipped or getting in trouble, and my parents being like, "Well, if you didn't do it this time, that's for one I didn't catch you for." You know. You ever remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
I became pretty free range by about the age of 12.
Oh, we came out feral, dude. We fucking, it was bad. It was real bad at one point.
Hell yeah. Hey, what's weird about, Mike, this is one thing I've heard you say. You were talking about your parents. You said they're just kids raising kids, and so are we. And I was like,
we're all kids raising kids.
100%.
We're all kids raising kids. None of us know what the fuck we're doing.
No.
And that's a weird.
I didn't feel it till the other day.
But damn, our parents did fuck up.
And I thought like that too. I'm just a kid. And I'm like, wait, I'm 37.
It may not have been necessarily your parents, man, because you even look at the way that kids, the way we were in school, even in school, the way our teachers, the administrators were able to react different and treat us different than they can kids now. And, you know, I think a big problem with why our age group suffers so much mental health issues.
I think our parents could have done better, and they had no idea they were doing such a shit job.
Oh, 100%.
To be honest, yeah. Like they were blissfully unaware. We were pets.
You know, but hey, look, and
it was a status symbol to just have kids.
100%.
It was like that.
My kids are better than your kids.
Well, and that's what you did.
With my honor roll sticker on the car.
Yeah, the definition of your success is you grow up, you buy a house, you have some children. And it's just that's what it was. That's the level of thought had in this equation is that's part of my level of success.
But you were also,
and they still wanted to be kids.
You were also semi-expected to follow in your parents' footsteps too, though.
Yeah, I got a rocky history with my dad that we covered on this, and it fucked me up. It did. It fucked me up.
Man, me and my dad almost come to blows on a Christmas morning one time. Took off walking from home. I did, you know, when I was 16, 17. So I completely understand.
Yeah.
You know, and again, I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but
I have a princess in my life. I have my 7-year-old little girl.
Sure.
And I look back at the shit my dad said and did to me when I was 7 years old, and it makes me say, how in the fuck could you do that? Like, I love my little girl so fucking much.
Right.
You know, just because that's my child. That is my baby. That is my baby, and I don't give a fuck. I'm on her team. You know 100%. What I mean? And then I look like there for a while before I had her, man. I did give my dad the excuse of like, well, nobody really knows what they're fucking doing. And then I had my own, and it fucks me up even damn more.
Man, I'm gonna tell you right now.
Because it's like, how did you do that to me, bro?
Do you have children, Mike?
2 kids, yeah.
Age?
Boys, 7 and 9.
So I've got 2 boys also, 17 and 16. My youngest one just turned 16 on the 3rd of this month. My oldest one turned 17 back in January. But we've got a niece that was really close with us. I mean, I consider her just like one of our children, our daughter. She's 22. And she's got a family of her own. And man, there's nothing in this world that will break your heart like your family will, like your kids. Whether intentionally or unintentionally.
It's terrifying, bro, to love something that much.
It is. So I'm going to give you a piece of advice. Be prepared to hurt her feelings, because it's going to happen. And I'm telling you
scared,
from personal experience.
I'm terrified.
And your kids are young too. My kids are older, man. And
she's going to have to hear some shit she don't want to hear at some point.
I got a good balance, I believe, because both my kids have the dad fear of like discipline, and they understand, but also I play with them and do so much fun stuff.
Guys,
with
I said
them.
Listen,
man, I said this. I said the
you
same.
Don't understand till you get there.
I said the same thing, man. Wait till your kids are 15, 16, 17,
right.
18, 19. You know. And
that's why, brother, I just try my damn best.
That's all you can do, man. And that's exactly what I
needed to hear that today.
That's all you can do, man. And that's why, to kind of jump from the beginning to where we probably should have ended up is this past year, man. It has been, I have struggled with addiction my entire life, and for the most part, I was able to keep it under control to where I could function and from all outside aspects looking in, I was doing okay,
Yeah.
And whether I realized it or not,
Yeah, dude, you'll see a lot of motherfuckers.
There were things that weren't okay.
You'd be surprised the faces that come through the trap house door to get a bag of dope.
Oh, dude,
people that you would think were like, damn, you're here. People that play it very well.
But I've had it really, really under a pretty good control since February 27th of 2012, and I've always been a really self-aware person, I'm also a very humble person.
Mike's over there fixing
shade there.
It's bothering him. Okay, can you see why I got him on my team? He might.
Trust me, you got.
All right, insert picture of Mike. All right, dude, if you ever hear me say I'm going to get with my associates about this, it means I'm talking to Mike about it. Mike's like, I joke about this with my mother. I'm the chaos and you're the order, and it makes a good yin and yang to this team. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
And fuck, we be killing it, dude. Can I get some nugs on that? Hit that Afghan hash. Yeah.
It gets better.
What a treat.
We need to, if you got...
What a fucking treat.
It's kind of messy.
Dude.
If you got something to push that down in there.
Oh,
fuck, man. Yes, dude. And we're not doing any meth.
No
meth.
I've never done meth in my life.
What was always your choice?
Well,
if you don't mind disclosing.
No, it just depends.
What's available?
No, not necessarily. So, I never really viewed smoking pot as really doing drugs.
I think of it more as the same level of doing drugs as drinking caffeine. You're altering your mental state.
If people treated caffeine like they do pot, it would 100% be the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, but
we consume way too much caffeine.
You have to
and not enough pot.
Taboo is the thing, because
it is.
I'm not
a
saying
generation of old voters keeps it illegal.
Like desensitize your kids to like binge drinking, but having them exposed to regular beer drinking is not a weird thing.
Well, I can tell you.
So you can keep your beer in your fridge next to your kid's Lunchable, and nobody will ever fucking say a word about it. But if you leave a bong on the fucking counter...
Well, that's true.
You know?
But I can tell you, man, just from when you look at human beings, you know, if whether you believe in evolution or not, from the time we've existed on this planet, it's very, very small, you know. I mean, and distilling alcohol and having a close personal relationship with very high-proof alcohol, human beings aren't designed to consume that amount of alcohol.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's like
there's a reason why it's classified as a poison.
The key here is it absolutely it's absolutely a poison.
Bro.
So the thing is, just like your meth, like how long does meth stay in your system for a drug test?
Cheers. What?
How long does meth stay in your system for a drug test?
It's only a few days. That's why people.
Well, that depends. I think
that's why people on probation, on the reg,
do it. Yeah.
Will not smoke pot, but they will continue to do meth because
coke, or you know.
Yeah, but they will not smoke pot. If they were allowed to just fucking smoke pot, they would probably improve the success rate.
Well,
but as they're withdrawing,
you're allowed to take Suboxone.
Right. So, and see, the more foreign the chemical is to your body,
hitting this goddamn
the longer it takes for it to process, and the longer it takes for you to become sober. That's why DMT is such a quick thing, because it's made in our fucking brain. So our brain's like, oh, I know what to do with that.
But they also put so many. They want us to take so many synthetic. Just like I said, Suboxone. They want us to take so many synthetic drugs.
Yeah.
That make you feel. Dude, I remember the first time I went to the doctor when I realized when I had a problem.
I feel like that just hit me. Like I can only explain it as keyboard duster. I went, and all the oxygen left my brain, and I went, and then I came back down, and now this is awkward. I had a moment.
That's when you know that's the one right there.
It's chain up.
When it makes you start questioning
We are
yourself.
smoking. What? What are we smoking?
Hash, right? That's got some moon rock in it too.
Oh, we watered it down. We watered it down with a moon rock. That's when you
put
know
it on a moon rock vehicle.
Okay, once again.
Where were we at?
Dude, slide in. Let's get a good. This is what Dilfin looks like, I believe. Bro. Like, they don't understand what peak
male performance.
Right now, we're sitting in a van in your driveway, getting so fucked up, smoking Afghan. That's the first time in my life I've ever had that. You don't understand what you've done for me today, sir.
Hey, that's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, but this is Dilfin.
Years ago.
Look, if you want, like, if you're trying to define...
Dude, I got some badass pork tacos in there, too, when we're done.
Oh! Oh, my God.
Motherfuckers are good.
Shit.
But we were talking about something, man. It was important. I wanted to finish what we were talking about.
I am so goddamn sorry.
No. It's cool. I'm sure we can do this again.
But we will literally ask him. We'll go till you're done.
Well,
you know,
like at least 2 hours worth of shit.
I'm good, man. I don't want to.
Sometimes we go over, and those I like them.
That's okay.
I like them.
We're bouncing around.
Please remember what he was talking.
If anybody that's
I'm the problem and you're the solution, and that's
bro. We were talking about a bunch of different. Too many subjects.
You've been smoking that hash too.
If I was listening to a podcast like we're on right now, I would have to smoke a big joint to even be able to keep up with it.
Sure.
You know. Yeah. So that's okay. It's good. You're talking to your kind of people. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well.
That's kind of the entertaining aspect of it too, because when people watch it and they're like, "Wait, what?" And then 20 minutes later, it connects to something we were talking about.
Yeah, it'll go back.
Now we finished
I'll get back. It'll come full circle.
Yeah, it bounced around.
It'll come full circle.
Well, what's cool about getting really fucking stoned or really high off of marijuana is
Oh, you
it's a perfect, like, you get good and fucked up, and then you come back down, and it feels like it's been a day and a half, and it's been, ting, right at an hour.
Yeah.
You know? It works out. It's a smoke sesh.
You were asking me what my drug of choice was.
Yes.
So
yes.
For years, I was a speed guy. I liked to coke, you know.
Like go up.
Like to go up. And it kind of really went downhill when I started smoking it, you know, and got even worse when I learned how to cook it, you know.
I can see that happening.
And I mean, I'm not proud of any of that, you know, but if I could take any of that stuff back,
it's a chapter in your life, though. It's part of the book, man.
It's
definitely a bizarre.
Again, it just like with how anybody else is raised where you grow up at, the majority of people done that. That was, you know, I wasn't just the only one.
Yeah.
You know, but then it kind of it gets like anything else, man. It gets old, you know.
Yeah.
So I kind of slowed down on the doing coke and stuff, but I was also the whole story behind it. I mean, I was dealing it, you know, just whatever. Hell, man, I done heroin for the first time when I was 12.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, so I always ran with some older crowds anyway, except for my two cousins, which were like my brothers until my actual brother came along, which I was already 14 when he was born. So, but man, I would go cut these guys' grass. You know, they were, you know, in their 20s with a push mower, and it was just a little bit of yard, and hell, they would give me an ounce of weed or, you know, whatever. And I went in one day and they had it out on the table there, and I was like, damn, it's weird looking coke, you know, because it was kind of off-white, brownish looking. And I had some coke that was kind of yellowish, off-whitish before, you know. It was fucking best coke I'd ever done. And I was like, hey man, let me try some of that, you know. And he's like, nah, you don't want, you don't need none of this shit. And I was like, man, it's good, I've done it before, whatever. And he was laughing. He's like, you ain't ever done this. And I was like, it's coke. And he's like, that ain't coke. And the other guy was there, and he's like, oh, just give him a little bit, you know. And looking back on it now, man, I would have no point in my life would I have ever done that to somebody.
Sure.
I'd have been like, fuck no. First of all,
tell them exactly.
First of all, there ain't nobody coming in here while I've got something like this out anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But regardless, I did have, you know, man, addicts, people that are addicts or just whatever, people that struggle with mental health are looked at as having no morals, you know, being a piece of shit human being, you know, whatever. But that could not be further from the truth, you know. But anyway, so I tried it, you know, and I can remember getting high, but it wasn't like, you know, like you talk to people now, they're like, oh man, you're hooked first time. And that may be using if you're shooting it, you know. I never did shoot it, but
it changes.
Yeah, I've done it 3 or 4 times within a month or 6 week period. You know, I wasn't doing it every day, but and then it went away. But these guys were bringing it in from Chicago. This was in the late 90s. You know, yeah, late 90s, early 2000s. So that was back before heroin and opiates and stuff was a big thing here. I mean, that's back when opiates were just starting to go crazy. You know, and luckily for myself, I did not discover those until I was an adult. You know, I mean, I'd had them, you know, from procedure, you know, dentist, doctor, or whatever. But
wisdom teeth and shit.
You know, so I quit doing everything, man. Let's see. I got sober. I wouldn't even smoking pot or anything. I didn't drink beer or nothing from about, let's just say, February, March of 2007 until 2009, maybe a couple years. And I tore my rotator cuff at work, and the doctor, they give me, you know, painkillers. Man, I was getting 180 painkillers every 30 days.
Wow.
And I remember saying to him, I was like, I don't think this is a good idea, man. Like, I've got an addictive personality.
Yeah, this seems
overkill, you know. And
sure,
he offered to do a surgery on it, and he said that I would have to redo it in like 10 years because I was so young at the time and the job I was doing or whatever. I said, well, I'm not going to do that. And he said, well, there's no more pain pills. So he just cut me off cold turkey. Well, of course, I started buying them off the street, man. One thing escalated, and everything escalated. One thing led to another, and hell, I overdosed 2 or 3 times, you know. One time was at work. That was pretty bad.
That's hardcore, man.
That scares the shit out of me about them opiates.
Yeah, man.
That scares, because here's the thing people don't understand about heroin. You can get 2 bags from the same dope man, and one of them be 10 times fucking more potent or have fentanyl in it. You don't ever know. Every single time is such a real risk. And now there's carfentanyl.
If that stuff was around like it is now when I was a teenager, there's no doubt I would not be here. I have zero.
The dope ain't even worth doing no more. That's like, through my platform, I've been trying to, I want to bring attention to how real this fucking issue is.
I don't think people realize that. And
it happens for so many fucking people. And I have met some of the most beautiful fucking souls in trap houses, bro. No kid wants to grow up to be a dopehead. That's what I'm not
and
like.
You can take, man, every addict gets to a point that regardless if they want to stop or not, regardless of where they're at, you could ask them and say, hey, if you could snap your fingers and be sober right now, would you do it? And every one of them would say yes.
Yeah, like if take away the withdrawals, but if you could snap your fingers and get to where you never need it again, would you do it? They'd never touch it again.
Whether they're trying to get better or not. That's what I was.
Nobody wants to be a dopehead.
Nobody wants to have to rely on that shit every day, man. I don't care what anybody says.
That's the exact time when you cross over, and you don't know when it is. It goes from a party to a fucking way of life, and you don't see the transition.
Oh no, man.
You know what I mean? Like, you do it every once in a while, and all of a sudden you're doing it every day, and you're like, when did that happen?
Because you stop getting high off of it, and you don't even realize when the last time you actually got high was.
This is one thing that a lot of people don't talk about. There are a lot of people who hide their meth usage, especially from their significant others or their families.
Man, I hid it from my wife
and it's easy to do.
Or I thought I was.
Well, I mean, it's easy to do if you play your cards real right. People can go a long time.
Oh yeah, you can
doing that shit without anybody knowing.
Like I told you, my thing is to self-destruct. So I finally get tired of, and I start to get sloppy. So she will catch me. It's because I get to the point I'm like, man, I just want to get this over with. You know?
Yeah, go ahead and get some because I'm withdrawing so bad. It's more obvious if I'm not.
Right.
And
I just want her to realize that
you end up in this loop of hiding it, and in order to hide it, you have to get high.
And it causes more stress on top of the addiction because you're trying to keep all this shit together. You're trying to keep your family together and, you know, pay bills. And
that's how you end up snorting snorting jet alerts. Damn it! I swear to you.
Yeah,
drinking 3-4 Bang Energies a day. That's how my heart got enlarged. Yeah. I think it was like, it would be more obvious if I wasn't high. So I'd be doing shit like snorting jet alerts because you go whoa for about 10 minutes, but then your chest hurts really bad.
But you know, like,
don't snort jet alerts. But it's
100%. Don't snort anything for that matter.
Yes,
it's a doctor prescribed breathing treatment.
Yeah. Inhaled, I guess.
Yeah, very few things need to be tooted. But I got addicted through the nose real bad. Like, nothing else.
Trust me, I went with I done it with coke, man, for years. I get it, you know.
Ain't no other way gonna do it. I mean,
dude, I never got bad. I would do,
but eventually your nose burns out and you gotta do something.
Dude, we would eat it. That was before we figured out how to cook it.
Have the little
CD case I did it on.
I knew some folks that had little vegetable capsules. You just stuff them,
put it in and swallow it. I knew guys that done that, but I liked getting my tongue numbed up. It never bothered me to eat it.
Well, this is meth versus coke. Meth tastes like shit.
I've never done meth, so I don't know.
Good, dude.
Yeah, because see, when meth started blowing up around here, no pun intended. But when when the meth started catching on here and getting big, that was when I was starting. My kids were young. I was sober, you know, and I'd already kind of gotten away from a lot of that stuff. So I'm sure it was around when I was out running around. If that was the drug I wanted to choose, I'm sure I could go find it. Don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't real big. It just got big here, you know, because it was cheap. All these hillbilly chemists, you know, could pretty much cook it. Then I think shake and bake dope got real big, you know, was a quick, easy thing. So
yeah,
that's kind of what caught on.
Most of the shake and bake getting made for personal use, that's a thing. With the cops,
this is just stuff I've heard other people talk about. Like I said, I don't know that much about it. So when I hear people say that stuff, I don't know what they're.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. This is where I don't want to talk too much. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Well, I mean, your knowledge on it, I don't mind. So I met this guy. I'll tell you this. I was
not qualified. I was not qualified to be in the setting that I was in. I didn't. All of a sudden, meth makes you about a gangster. It'll make you about a fucking G. You think you're some shit.
Yeah, that's why
luckily,
so many people.
I had some people that just kind of looked out for me. You know what I mean? They're like, this dumb son of a bitch, you know.
He's going to kill himself, and
yeah,
it's going to bring the heat on us. That was always...
There were some very kind people, and that's why I got mad love for people in the trap.
Man, 100%. That's like when you see now, you hear about a young person or anybody for that matter, they're out with a group of friends and they're doing dope and they overdose, and their friends, even if they pull up to the emergency room and just kick them out, most of the time they'll just leave them wherever they're at. Dude, I could never imagine.
My buddy DJ died that way.
Oh, I've had friends.
Since then, they have the Good Samaritan law.
Well,
they have the Good Samaritan law.
Even still,
I want everybody
guys,
to know this.
100%, man.
Dude, call 911 and throw the phone on his chest, whatever. But there's a law. Get him help, him or her. Get him or her help.
Yes,
okay,
100%.
Because that individual will die. Mm-hmm. They will die if you don't. And there is a law that states that the police cannot do investigations at an overdose call.
Sure. And so I've got mixed emotions on that whole subject too. Because, and this is coming from an addict. And I've been in just about every terrible situation that you could imagine. And I would never leave somebody to die like that. I'm the kind of person like, all right, man, if you're going, I'm going to go too, I guess. But I'm going to try to help.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll go, you know.
Sometimes
I got here with you, so,
but
you know.
You get on some shit I get thinking clear.
But, man, I've been on all that shit.
That's why I'll be trying to train people. Dude, just call. Just call.
That's what I'm saying.
Just fucking call. Just fucking call. I
don't see how people could not. But,
yeah.
You know, there's all kinds. It takes all kinds to make the world go round, as they say.
Yeah.
You know, but
I'm still kind of upset about DJ.
On the flip side of that coin, I know people that are decent people that are in jail because they would peddle dope to pay for their habit, and just so happened somebody that they got dope from them overdosed. Yeah. And look, if I can assure you, if that person knew, and I'm not speaking to just one specific person here or about one specific person, but if that person knew that bag of dope they were selling that person was going to kill them, they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't have done it. They didn't know that, you know. And if he didn't get it from that guy, he's gonna go right up the road and get it from this guy or another guy or whatever else.
And any of them could be the bag.
And it's Russian roulette, man. It's, you know, it's just the way it goes.
Yeah, it's not something. Yeah, this ain't worth it.
You know, so I've got mixed emotions about that. While I think somebody should be held responsible, should it be this little measly, you know, lowest guy on the totem pole that's peddling $10 bags to try to help finance his habit, or is it these big wigs that are bringing this shit over the borders by the truckloads?
Well, they'll never, dude. I will tell you.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like, it goes too high up is the problem.
Yeah.
You can't. If you go to the top of the pyramid.
Look, if somebody, the way I look at that, no matter if somebody can put together statistics as far as how many the amount of drugs that are coming across the border, whether it be drugs, sex trafficking victims, no matter what it is. If somebody can collect that data and put those stats together, then clearly they know it's happening.
Yeah. And how did you know how much it was?
If you don't know this happening, how do you get any stats? You know, so I feel like there's money being transferred somewhere.
Oh yeah.
You know, but I don't know. I mean, I don't want to sound like a fucking conspiracy theorist or nothing. But
but the facts are most big quasi-government deals that are happening that you can question are just big ass money laundering situations.
Well,
that's all it is. They're sending money to somewhere else, then it's going to get sent back to some fucker here that voted for it.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You got to be the thing.
I just went on a spirit journey.
That's cool. That's
I just went on a spirit journey. I swear I blacked out for a split second.
But you know how many people...
It went, oh, no.
If here, let's see another chunk off her and put in there.
Oh, no way.
It's pretty big, it looks like.
We need something to smash it down there.
I pushed it down before pretty good.
There you go. See if this...
Heavens to Murgatroyd. How about this van?
The pimp mobile here. I know.
Dude,
I told him yesterday, I was like, man, I'm about to do something I have always told all my kids not to do.
Can we film a skit today? Because you are the
thing. We're going to a stranger's house.
Yeah, but the reason when we were talking about that, it's because I've brought that up as a joke before, saying I pull up this pulls up and say, hey, you want us to come smoke pot in my van? It'd be weird. It'd be weird if it was a kid, but as a 38-year-old man,
I get it.
Fuck yeah, you know. But who the whole skit like?
Hey, I don't know what kind of kinks y'all are into. You never know. Two of y'all, you know. But
we like to play beer pong.
Well, I really appreciate being able to show up to someone's house and have a conversation where we feel like we've known each other for years.
100%, man.
You know, I mean, it feels great.
Well, it's just like we were talking earlier. You can go anywhere and be in any crowd of people, and you'll quickly find your people. And if you try hard enough, man, really,
right.
Most everybody's got more in common than what they realize.
Absolutely.
You know, this tribalism shit, man, that everybody's stuck on. That if
it only exists on the TV. It only exists on a screen.
I know.
Go around and talk to your neighbors. You find you get along with most of them.
Man, that shit fucks me up, bro.
You know what I mean? Like,
you know, we'll go on vacation. You're like, damn, I seen all this shit on the news. You know, I don't know about this and that. Whatever.
Yeah.
You get there and it's the fucking best people in the world, man. You know, they're like, hey, we're cooking out. Y'all want to come over?
I mean, I'm not going to downtown Chicago for
I want pizza.
Fucking
no,
vacation.
I mean, I wouldn't do that either. But if I had to, I would. I could get along. I'm not the kind of person that I'm just going to walk in somebody with loaded guns.
Sure.
You know, but
very few people are.
I've been in a lot of situations, man, and I can get along with just about anybody. I've been dirt poor in my life, and I've been what you could consider for this area semi-wealthy. Right. You know, upper middle class.
Yeah.
You know, I can find something in common with just about anybody.
Sure.
And I'm a pretty genuine person. If I'm wanting to talk with you guys, if I can't find something in common, then hey, man, we'll just have to
boil it down to we're all the same, man. Like, no matter if you're the president, if you're a CEO of some company, or if you're a burger flipper.
That's how marijuana talking.
Living the life, man.
Like, yeah, dude, marijuana is too good. I think. Well, I firmly believe it. Like,
I was that way.
The powers that be rely too much on people not getting along for how much marijuana makes people get along. We're the coolest motherfuckers in the state today, boys. All right. What we done is, damn it, there's another.
What?
It's art. No, we're back on the Chuck Ford podcast, where I've gotten completely plumb tore out the frame, which is not unusual, but I'm an exceptionally bit.
It happens.
You know, fucked up right now.
We're in a safe spot, man.
We're in a safe space.
You got a designated driver. Fucking have at
it. Yeah. This is kind of the shit. This is kind of the shit. You know, hashtag blessed. God did, you know.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But yeah, we were hitting on that. You were talking about your dad had went and had marriage annulled through the Catholic Church, you know. But there, at one point, that's so not long after I married my wife, got really involved in just a full gospel, non-denomination Christian church, and I'm the kind of person, man, with whatever I'm doing, no matter what it is, if I can find a sense of
accomplishment in it, or if it's something that's just interesting to me, man, I dive into it head first. Like, I want to know everything I can, you know, about whatever the subject is. So I got really, really into the Bible and studying, you know, the Bible and the meaning of it, and, you know, all that jazz. But I couldn't bring myself to pursue it further, because at the time, I'm a whole lot of things, dude. I'm an asshole. I'm a dickhead, smart ass. You know, I've been a shitty father. I've been a great father. I've been a shitty husband, a great husband. You know, whatever. But I've tried everything everything in me to not be a hypocrite. You know, because it's just, hypocrisy is, man.
It's like you try, you give it your damnedest.
I have zero tolerance. You know, if that's an immediate way for me to just completely lose respect for somebody. But ironically enough, and I'm sure you'll have this in some form or fashion. It just depends on how hard you critique yourself. But being a parent will, at one point, turn you into a hypocrite. You know, even if it's as simple as as simple as you tell your child to do something or not to do something. It's just because
don't do drugs. It's like fuck.
You know?
You
know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, I could not see myself, you know, falling short of the way I live, and then being able to get up there and preach on Sunday mornings or Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings, and I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? But that's another. People are automatically so quick to shut someone down. They come up to start talking to you about Jesus or whatever. Most people are so quick to shut it down because of how aggressive people are, and they act like they want to cram it down your throat or whatever.
Yeah. Dude, and you're making a lot of valid points.
You see all this stuff about, you know, other religions hate Christians and Christians hate other religions, and
there's no hate like God's love. It appears sometimes.
Well, you know, the thing is there's, you know, you go and you read the Bible enough and you study it. It tells you there's nowhere in it that it says to hate this person for whatever reason.
Yeah.
If it is, I've never seen it. You know.
Bro, this is gonna blow your fucking mind. This is gonna blow a lot of motherfuckers' mind. I went to Catholic school for 1st and 2nd grade, and the rest of the time I did all my sacraments other than confirmation. Every other sacrament, your first communion, first reconciliation, the baptism. I was Catholic as a kid. And the Catholic Church got a lot of bad press, and then I was still involved in churches, but they were small Christian churches, and like kids. It was like there would be like a Bible group on Wednesdays, and then all of a sudden that church turned into Six Flags over Jesus, and it just wasn't the same.
So I went to.
I fucking love that analogy because it's so fucking true. The singing and the bebopping and the dancing, and then pass the hat around. It's like, bro, you could have built so many small churches on bullshit lots in the middle of nowhere, and people, if you were really that successful at your mission, people would go to a barn.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Some of the best messages I've ever received have been at places such as that.
The tent, revival tent, a barn or something.
You cannot tell me that's not just
necessarily
a
revival
when a church
tent,
gets that big.
I'm sure it happens, but it's been at like podunk places. Like, man, you wouldn't.
Yeah. No.
You know, there used to be a guy.
There's something beautiful about an old Southern church and just the way.
Just any old church, because they're everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
These rural churches.
Even up north, I'm sure they're there. I've not.
The tradition, and there's a discipline to a lot of it. So I could never get on board with these. Churches, but at the same time, I think the Catholic Church has kind of got off the rails just a touch.
So here's the story on how that happened with my wife and I. So
a literal touch.
When I met my
off the rails.
It happens. When my wife, when I first met her, actually, so I've known my wife for a long time. She's got some older siblings that I knew and kind of run around with. Her brother and I were pretty good friends, and we had met through some other mutual friends, and not long after we met, she wound up getting pregnant. But we stayed with my dad. I left home when I was 17. I was gone for almost 2 years, and got with her, and we come back for a short time there, and we stayed with him. And at this point, him and my mother were trying to reconcile their marriage, because my sister and I both were starting our families and having kids, and they decided it would be better for them to try to be together than, which has been great. I'm proud of my parents for what they've done, But we stayed with my dad, and then we stayed with her mother for a short while before we got our own place. And once we got our own place, we lived together, not married for a couple of years. And the church we were going to at the time was going to a retreat deal. They had some friends that owned a big private lake, up northern part of the state, and it's called Valley of Shalom. Beautiful place, man. Big old lake. It had all these little private cabins on it. And dude, I shit you not, we went down there in one weekend. We brought home over 1,250 bluegill and crappie. I mean,
I knew crappie was coming out.
Slabs.
Fucking big fat ass crappie.
Dude, I'm talking 12 and 14 inch fish.
Like that's a whole fillet fish on each side.
That's more than, there's no telling how many we threw back. I mean, we fished all day. I mean, it's crazy. But anyway.
I want a fillet fish.
So look, we get down there, and the pastor of our church at the time, I mean, he was a pretty cool guy at the time. I mean, he was really old school, but he was sort of progressive. But he wasn't progressive enough. Even though we had a kid, he wasn't comfortable letting us stay in a cabin together, not being married. And I was like, all right, so my wife and our fiance at the time talked about it, and I was like, let's just get married here, which was about, we got married in June of 2007. So this would have been just a few months before. I mean, it was late spring, mid-spring. So we wound up just getting married right there on this, hillside there beside the lake, which was fantastic, man. Her aunt, uncle was there, and the pastor and his wife. There were a few people there, close friends and stuff, and it was great. We got married, fucking fished all weekend, and I'm talking about murdered slabs, bro. I had never experienced anything like that,
Sure, yeah.
Almost like.
But this guy's
like a spiritual fishing trip.
Oh man, it was. I don't know what
you ever just fucking lay into them and you just say like,
so
love you, grandma.
Yeah, but there's a difference, man. There's a difference in when you're somewhere and the actual spirit gets to moving versus when you're there somewhere and it's just you're happy. Like real genuine.
When you're vibing in your element, bro.
Oh
and
yeah.
There's
a different connection there for sure.
Yeah.
It's almost like an out of body experience. It's as far as the way you feel.
You don't feel like you're in the same reality.
Right. 100%.
You feel like, damn, I'm in some of the good times. It feels like reality.
Well, you know that this is one of those things in your memory that when you think about the good times of your life, this is going to be one of them.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
This is something that fucking. This is a story that means a lot to me, and it won't make as much sense. But I remember being 16 years old, and this Dodge Dakota I used to drive, going up and down the hills on McCowan's Ferry, and the sunset was over here, like it was like getting toward dark. The sun is setting, and then you know what I'm talking about? System of a Down, Aerials. Life is a wild. Yeah. But that instrumental, and I said, I'm gonna remember this. And I'll be damned, like, I miss that. And I think I grieve youth a lot. I think a lot of us have youth.
Every child spends their entire childhood, I can't wait to be an adult, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Then you spend your entire adulthood
I wish I could go back and
just you rush to 16, you rush to 18, you rush to 21, then you're done.
Man, and you don't really, like, even still now, and thank God you are a few years younger than me, man, but I'm telling you, I used to, like, these old timers, when I was growing up, be somewhere and be like, damn, I'm tired. And they're like, tired, boy, when I was your age. But, you know, like, all right, motherfucker, just because I'm fucking 17,
and now
don't mean I can't get tired.
Willing to say
so,
it,
you know, and
people have gotten
or they're like, man, time
you.
flies by. You have no idea. And you're thinking, dude,
Seems like the minutes are long, but the years are short, brother.
Do you remember being in school, the last day of school or on a Friday or whatever, especially if you'd gotten in some trouble and you just couldn't wait to get out of that fucking place?
Yeah.
You'd sit and stare at the clock and it was like,
forever.
Dude, forever. You know, it was like 6-7 hours it was like, dude, you know.
Ours were like a Rolex.
I swear to God,
they didn't have a tick. They had the continuous.
Look, I remember.
I looked at them bitches a bunch.
I remember the first time it's like this one example, this one thing happened. My son had just been born. We were in the hospital. My niece and nephew were there. It was like that happened. We came home that night. I went to bed and I woke up and I'm here now. That's what it happened like that.
But you ain't lying, bro.
It's like I went from 18 to 36 in just a year versus what a month would have been when I was 18.
Hold on. You're talking what year?
What?
What year did it feel like the fast forward happened?
2007.
2007, 08. 07, 08.
Well, that's because my children were born.
It's always around 08 that they fucking turned the CERN on.
Well, I was also getting sober at the time too.
Yeah, but there were just these dramatic.
Well, I know what you're
almost
referring
like
to, but
reality shifting changes that happened for everyone.
I have felt
even on their own personal lives, and I feel like they had to have done something in 2020.
See, I didn't feel that then, but here since the eclipse has felt weird for me, and I
feel like, and it's been colder.
But it's also
these past few days.
Yeah, it's been chilly. But
at night,
man, we've always had blackberry winters, and what we always called them was a blackberry winter and blackberry summer, or whatever. But maybe not down in the 50s.
No, the spectrum of the light feels like autumn.
But
it feels like August or September.
If you look out through there, there's no haze. There's no humidity.
It's a weird clarity.
Yeah,
but the sun's been.
It's super bright.
I filmed a lot of the eclipse, and then I filmed a lot of before and after looking at stuff, and I really feel like something's different.
Man, well,
I don't know what it is.
The sun cycles. We have known this.
100%.
There was a year in the 1800s where we did not have a summer.
Well, we had that solar flare in the 1800s too that was real bad.
They were getting like snow in July or some shit. Just because the sun cycles, it's like 12 years.
But I thought that was a volcano eruption or something that caused some ash.
Well, there was Mount St. Helens even that fucked a bunch of shit up. And when was that?
Mount St. Helens was in the 90s, wasn't it? Wasn't that in Washington? Or not? Dante's Peak? Was it?
Yeah, that was.
It was kind of before my knowing, remembering.
I remember being on the news. I can remember because it was a big deal. Same thing with the Oklahoma City bombing and like Waco.
Columbine. My remembering a fuck ton of shit starts right about Columbine.
Really?
Yeah, dude. There was this one boy, and he has passed away. But there was this one boy that was just demonized his whole childhood, and I remember he would act up, but it almost sometimes just didn't make no sense. I feel like they failed that boy. He started acting up when he was young, and they just give up on him.
You know how many kids the system fails now because of that No Child Left Behind bullshit?
Oh yeah.
Fucking what happened there? I remember we were in elementary. This is 3rd, 4th grade. I think it was 4th grade because I remember thinking, well, he's at a different school. Like when it was right after Columbine. And we had the faculty did a thing where they would ask the students how they felt about the school. And he said, when they asked him how to make it better, he said, blow it up. He's in 4th grade, bro. That became like a legendary story.
Or like these
in
kids,
the town, and he fucking had to go to the alternative school or some
or these
shit.
kids
It was a legendary story.
Or drawing themselves with a sword or a knife or something. Man, they're kids.
Yeah.
Just like how people get hung up on, young boys 2, 3 years old playing with girls' toys.
Sure.
Dude, if there's boys and girls both down there playing, let these kids play. They're kids, man. That don't mean shit.
I'm tucked forward, and when I was a little boy, I had an easy bake oven. Didn't make me a fairy. I don't know if you're allowed to say that.
What's the difference in the easy bake oven or the little
I don't think you're allowed to say that.
Where you make your own little plastic toys?
Yeah.
It was because like I could fucking make my own cupcakes, bro.
Hey.
I didn't have to ask somebody for cupcake. A light bulb would make me a cupcake.
Time out for a
second. At 1 in the fucking morning. Let's shift toward wrapping up the podcast, and then we'll continue to party.
I'm cool.
If that's cool with you.
And if y'all, man, if we don't finish up here, we can always get back together and I'm be more than happy.
We can always have you out for another episode too, because like for us, I mean, it's all about just a hangout. So
sure, yeah, man. Hey,
we have been hustling in this line of work. Like we have been fucking balls to the wall trying to fucking push this bitch to get big.
That's what it takes, man. That's what it takes.
Yeah, and if that means I have to come to your house and smoke Afghan hash and drink cold Keystone Light.
I'll help you any way I can, my friend.
That's cool. See, like that
with no expectations of return. Because there's so many people out there. That's something that fucking drives me nuts, man.
Stipulations.
They want to. Oh yeah, I'll help you out and yada yada yada. And they're expecting something in return.
It'd be like that sometimes.
If I say I'm gonna help you,
I appreciate you. I appreciate the fuck out of you, man. Like it's really been neat.
I just want to try to bring more attention to
the issues
to mental health and addiction, and that it's okay. Doesn't make you a weak person to admit that you're broken or that you've got problems or that you're addicted or
in fact, admitting it is like the first step in a lot of progress. To be honest with you, once you're willing to accept that you ain't got this shit.
Well, like you said, there's no handbook for this, man. There's no handbook for any of it, and this past year has although I've suffered with this stuff for my whole life,
We've been kicking your ass.
Yes.
That motherfucker got hands.
Yes.
I
say the past year, but it's really been leading up to, it's been about the last 2 years, 2.5 years. But, that stigmata around being a man and you got to stay strong and, you have to sacrifice all your happiness for everyone else's happiness and not that I would gladly sacrifice whatever I had to try to keep my family happy, but
yeah,
your mental well-being is if you're not mentally healthy, you're not doing your family any justice by staying that way.
This is another old quote, man. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else.
That's true.
You cannot if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else.
But the problem with that is so many men, like I had gotten so good at either lying to myself or masking it, and telling myself that I'm making my family happy. And I'm sure I was to an extent, but clearly it wasn't as happy as and well off as things could have been had I tried to prevent.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're in active addiction, you are not as there as you think you are.
Right.
If you think you're doing great by your family, you might not be, bro.
That old term, he's a functioning addict,
There is no functioning addict. They're never functioning.
I mean, it's
some of the functions being taken.
No, I just think it's a different type of addict is what it should be.
Yeah.
It's, but
that we start looking at the definition of the word function at that point. Yeah. You know what I mean? Manages to keep a job is not necessarily functioning.
Sure.
Which is, I feel like, a lot of the time.
And again,
what they judge it against.
And
employment justification.
I think that you look back and you're like, damn, man, you done for coming from what I've come from, man, I've done some pretty cool shit, But you can't help but think at the end of the day, like, man, if I was like mentally healthy and was
If
really,
if I really had the ability to put one hundo
what could it have been?
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you can't. I don't live my life on coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda, shit.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. But
you gotta learn from the
you still
chapter,
can't
close it, and start the next one.
as a human being, you can't help but wonder, well, what could have been.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that there's a fate/destiny sort of aspect to things. If there's a steering sort of energy in life, I am not qualified to be at the level of success that I have ascertained.
Sure.
I'm doing the best I can, man. I'm just a fucking some motherfucker.
Hey.
But it is, here we are, and I just gotta fucking eat it. I gotta fart.
You know, there's times where you fucking
Give me a lighter.
You know,
Give me a lighter, boys.
No matter what, you still.
We got that
up,
GoPro.
You still get up the next morning, man, beat down, broken, whatever.
Or did it?
No.
Didn't get it.
Low octane.
Did I miss my butthole?
Low octane.
Fucking damn it! I tried. There's gonna be another. We'll try to do that again. There's a mastering of the art of where your give a fuck should go.
That's 100%.
The fucker's mad at me, but I don't give a shit.
But then once you get to that line to where it's been crossed, to where it's like, all right, now
you gotta be mathematical again
now
about
you've
it.
crossed that line.
You have got to say, no, this person did me wrong.
Yep.
And I can't. The ball is in their court. This is one thing I like to do, is when things are starting to get a little sideways with somebody I really give a shit about, I try to just be as straight up as possible. I bet I could have burned that burp. I try to just be straight the fuck up.
Smells like
it. Yeah, so no, you just gotta be like, bro, this is what the business is. This is what the business is.
Anybody got a lighter?
I tried to light a fart with that a minute ago. What you said, bro? Bro, but if it's people that you give a shit about, give them the chance. Communicate with them.
That's
you know what I mean? Because there is a lost in translation that happens in every conversation that you have.
And people think, even, you know, man, I'll tell you something.
And it just sucks to fucking lose people over silly shit.
Dumb shit.
And it happens so fucking often.
Dude, I've been with my wife for 19 years. You know, we've been married for a little over 17. Or 17 this year, actually. And
was that fucking hash?
Yeah.
I'm speaking. You got me speaking goddamn dolphin over here.
There's some. I got some flyers. You want to roll joint?
Oh,
no.
Good. Yeah, I get
But you know, man.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Did you know hashishum is the root word for assassin?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That sounds like one of those things you're going to follow up with, nah, I just made that shit.
Because these motherfuckers would use hashishum to get it's like a lot of motherfuckers be taking pills before they slide these days.
Yeah, motherfuckers are all
But,
about
you know what I mean?
perks
Need a
now.
pill before you slide kind of shit. It's they
And
fucking...
flies are a motherfucker.
Yeah, they'll fucking take pills to get them just not give enough a fucking...
Yeah, you see
fucking cap 'em
perks
up.
now, man. You see people on Percocets now. It's crazy. Man,
Them 30s, there is no 30. There's no Perk 30. There's no lab-made Perk 30. That is fentanyl.
You can't get the Roxys anymore. The blue 30s.
Consider them used up. If you're being told that they're correct, you're most likely being lied to.
I got you. I didn't know if they still... Because, man, I remember, dude...
This is last I've heard. I have not Googled this shit.
So,
that's just word of mouth.
In 2010, you know, was hype. 2010,
That's the shit. That tastes like cedar wood.
It is good. 2011, maybe. That's when they were getting big, the Roxy. See, that was... one.
Yeah, I think they...
Dude, the best... One of the best...
I think.
One of the best highs in the world, and I mean, don't try this, of course. I mean, I'm not encouraging anybody to do drugs, but when I was doing drugs,
this is what I liked.
Dude, you take about 2 or 3 of those Roxys, those 30s, and about 2 of those 15s, and eat them, dude, in a Xanax bar. Oh my gosh.
Dude, I was never a go down guy. I love going up. Even
dude,
I swear alcohol affects me different than it does you. It makes you, does it not?
There's a lot of people
to an extent. The first 12 beers wake me up.
Yeah.
It's just the way.
Man, I'm the same way.
It's chemically different. Like, dude, that's why I hated smoking pot. For a lot of years because it would put me to sleep and beer would wake me up.
See, and I'm the opposite and not really the opposite, but like if I haven't drank any beer, if I haven't drank anything past say 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, I won't drink because once I start, I'll be up till 2 or 3.
This is a unhappy admission on my part.
You know what I mean? So
there's been a lot of nights where if I drink that first beer and it ain't sitting right because I ate too recent, I'm a master at inducing vomiting.
See, and I'm the same.
I throw up a whole goddamn pizza so I can go get drunk.
Yeah, I know, man. But
do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. Because I've been eating I eat one meal a day, man. I eat at probably 10 or 11 o'clock at night. But I've been that way for 20-something years, you know. So, and it started off when really my wife and I, when we first got together, man, we were living on our own. When we bought our home in 2009, I was making $10.50 an hour. I was married with 2 kids. We owned our own vehicle. We were now paying for our house. My house payment was like $600 a month. And I remember thinking, dude, how in the fuck am I gonna pay for this? You know.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we at the time, man, I made too much money for any type of government assistance, you know. And I shit you not, man, it was legitimately just a few dollars, you know. And I'm like, y'all, I'm supposed to feed my family on $3 or $4, but we made it work, you know. I mean it. But you know, fuck. Where was I going with that? I told you I get married.
But this is bringing back core memories for me because I graduated high school in 2000.
I know, but I told you I get rambling. You was talking about something.
No, but I'm thinking about, and this pisses me off, and I want to find this fucking dirt bike.
Somebody's fucking, so just broad daylight. It's been a couple years ago now. I had growing up, the 93 350 Warrior, Yamaha 350 Warrior was like, everybody wanted one. They was the best of, you know.
Yeah.
And I found one. It was a guy had it. It was a barn find. His dad had it in a barn. You could clearly tell it didn't have it 4 or 5 hours on it. Bought it. We had it for like 2 years or a year or something like that. And I was in the process of building my garage, so I had taken my privacy fence used to come out from the corner of my house and go to about the corner of the garage over here, but on the back side. So I'd taken that fence down and I had them sitting outside the fence, and somebody fucking stopped up here, dude, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and swiped both of them. One of them was a Kawasaki KX 100, I think is what it was. And then it was like a 90, I think it was a 94 350 Warrior.
This is what fucking pissed me off, dude. I'm drunk as shit, so I'm gonna spill my guts. This is what fucking happened. Okay, so not long after I turned 18, my dad kicked me out. He said, you got 30 days, because that's like eviction notice. He gave me an eviction notice not long after I turned 18. And then I said, well, how the fuck am I supposed to get all this money in 30 fucking days, you know, to get a place to live, as well as a deposit, as well as, you know, like, fuck, I didn't expect, you know. But it happened. He was like, I guess you'll just have to sell your dirt bikes. When I was 13 years old, he bought me, as a gift, father to son, a 2003 Honda CRF 150F. It was my first dirt bike. I learned how to ride on it.
That's a good bike.
And then when I was 15. I was 15, it was 2005, and I wanted to step it up. I wanted a CRF 450R. It's 2005. That's what I fucking wanted. You know what I mean? And there was one for sale for $4,500, at Bluegrass Cycle Correct. Okay, he said if you come up with $1,000 of it, which for a 15-year-old in 2005 was a large chunk of change. So I started working, and so I worked for $1,000 of this at fucking Ace Hardware in Versailles, Kentucky. I got $30 a fucking week. I got 6 hours a fucking week, and I had to do the most bullshit fucking shit. But I came up with $1,000, and I paid for this $250. And then he had bought when I got the $150, he had bought a CRF 450R. I ended up stepping up to the 250R, and then in a very short amount of time, by the time I was 16, I was riding the 450, and he was riding the 250. When there was the time when he made me sell the 250 to move the fuck out, that was like my only choice, and we took way less. It was a bullshit fucking deal, but we had to sell it in 30 days. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And what year was that?
2008. So one of the childhood dirt bikes that I align with heavily is gone. Keep in mind, this man's making well into the six figures, probably to over 200,000 a year at this point.
So you had just turned 18?
And I just turned 18 and he kicked me out.
I got you.
He makes over 200 bands a year.
Did he give you a reason why he was kicking you out?
He never did like me. He was not a fan since I was a young age. Remember I told you he hit his head?
Yeah.
And then worked for the CIA. Yeah. He went through the farm. Do you know what the farm is? Mm-hmm. He went through the farm. As in, he got the whole treatment, brother.
LSD being...
I don't know. He won't talk about a bunch of it, but he went through the damn farm, and he fucking... When I was a kid, whenever Lorena Bobbitt cut that man's wiener off, we lived in Manassas, Virginia, because it's right by Langley. Mm-hmm. You know,
I remember that being in the news too. They found that dude's wiener.
Put it back on.
Put it back on.
Put it back on. That's how fucking real... And it makes me wonder how far that damn wiener was from, my...
Makes me wonder how big his fucking wiener was.
I just
spotted on the side of the road.
A few years old.
Dude was probably packing.
It had enough blood in it to keep it alive. You know what I'm saying? That's got to be a log, bro. They got to be bringing it in like...
Somebody's got to ask...
Put it back on! Put it back on!
Somebody's got to ask the important questions.
Yeah, these are what they are. But then, okay, so, and then another time, this is after I'd done figured out how to move out. Like, everything's fucking... We're figuring shit out. But I showed up to my parents' house like hunt deer or some shit one day. And that 450 was being loaded into the back of somebody's truck. And I was like, no. Because I was never even given the option to buy it. Not that I could have afforded it. Yeah, but it was meant more technically on paper. And this is why I'm so thorough with contracts and things. Because between me and my father, technically on paper, the 250 was mine. And then the fact that we had switched and I'd built a shitload of memories on the 450 does not come into play. He didn't have to tell me shit.
Right.
And this was in 2008, 2009, when all that fucking, he acted like we were going to have to jack off a dog feed a cat. For real. And then another time I showed up to the house and the 150 was being loaded into the back of somebody's vehicle. And I said, wait, wasn't that like a gift to me when I was 13? Technically, doesn't that make that mine? But I didn't say shit. And now I think back at it and I'm like, God damn it. I would love to find that if I could fucking get them bikes back.
So were you a rebellious child? Like,
autistic child. My daddy didn't like me for it. I was not the cool son. I was
just curious, man.
Yeah, no. He decided he fucking didn't like me at a young age.
But also, man, that's just something that I think all father and sons go through. And I'm not comparing, not saying that you're...
Yeah.
I guess I was jumping from one story to the other because I felt like that too for years. Sometimes my dad still makes me feel like that he doesn't like me too much. You know what I'm saying?
I haven't spoken to my dad now in almost 5 years because I said, before you come back into me and my kid's life, you have to get mental health treatment because...
Yeah, and show me that you...
But that's it. Going to a psychiatrist, he will not do. And I'm like, I'm asking you...
What about your mother? Do you have a relationship with your mother?
Yes. My mom... I love my mama. I'm a mama's boy. Throwback to the footage when I said I gotta text my mama.
I thought
she watches some of my shit, but she don't watch all of it. And I sent her that clip, and she was like, "Oh, cool, you're talking to a girl." I'm like, "No, Mom, that was the other day when I texted you and said I love you, Mama," because Kevin fucking Thomas was doing that one thing where he fucking gets into it. He can lay down some vocals.
Fortunately, I've got a relationship with both of my parents, you know, and for years I can't say that I've had the healthiest relationship with either one of them. For, you know, they, like I said, they weren't bad people. They weren't bad
money.
parents.
I end up being the asshole. One of these days he'll come back around and talk to me like I'm a piece of shit for fucking bringing this shit he actually did.
It's crazy.
It's wild, bro. He was a fucking, in college, he fucking cracked his skull, and then they didn't expect him fucking playing football with a couple of dudes in this, like, there's like dorm room, and there'd be like an area, and it had a sidewalk going through the middle of it, and him and his buddies were playing football in that like area, and somebody tackled him and he hit his head on the sidewalk that goes through the middle of it, and he cracked his skull, and the cops thought he was just drunk because he was slurring his speech and shit, which he probably was drunk.
But he also had a head injury.
But he also had cracked his fucking skull really, really bad, and they didn't know if he'd ever be able to talk again, or walk again, or chew food again, and then he made a miraculous recovery, and then graduated from U of L Speed School Engineering. He got a master, and then he got another master through Bellarmine in Business Management. Wow. He also, out of college...
But he's mentally unhealthy.
But out of college, his first job, he applied for this job in the CIA, and there were 100. They would take 100 applicants nationwide, and he was one of them. You want to hear some stories? Apparently, they did this one drill.
Lay it on.
I don't give a fuck anymore. Apparently, they did this one drill where they would partner you up with somebody, and then drop you out of a fucking helicopter in the middle of goddamn nowhere, and you run. Now this is not to say that you will never be caught, because everybody gets caught eventually because they're watching you.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they're trying to simulate how long you will fucking run. And he got partnered up with an ex-Army Ranger. And he said it was the longest night of his life, because the Army Ranger said that in this situation, in the wild, if you will, they're going to look for you for so long. I will hit that and just say, they're going to look for you for so long, and then they're going to fucking go home and assume you bedded down for the fucking night, and they're going to pick it up in the morning. But they're going to go get a good night's sleep and a nice meal, and we're going to be running. And they ran all fucking night, and apparently they did pretty well. There's another story he told me where they did this simulated drill where they would put bags on their head, and he said he knew that the goal of this, you want the bag to touch the mouth just proper, and it'll create a sense of fear of small places.
Oh, claustrophobia.
Yeah, and that's what it'll start to get you to hyperventilating.
Wow.
And then it'll get worse and worse and worse, because
so you're just saying how far your mind would go before you crash.
Yeah, and apparently he said he went, and they were watching him real close, because every time he went, because the idea was to, as slick as possible, get the bag away from his mouth to reduce the claustrophobia. And every time they'd kick the fuck out of him. And then he said he heard, all right, who do you work for? And then there was, one guy said, fine, it's Ronald. And they said, Ronald who? And he said, McDonald. And then you could hear the sounds of the shit getting kicked out of him.
Oh, fuck.
But this is the CIA.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it turns out that man was just insane, and he didn't like me.
I asked you earlier if you had a relationship with him. If he went through the full treatment, I was going to say, dose his ass, see what kind of person he talks into.
I wish some of my fucking best memories are when I could finally get him to drink a fucking beer.
Yeah, because you said earlier that he's straight-laced, right?
Yeah. There were a couple of times.
Or even smoke, dude.
But it fucking chaps my ass, bro, because I've always wanted to be close to my daddy.
Man, I get it.
I've always wanted to be close to my daddy.
I get it, dude. I've had a similar relationship with my father as well. Just, you know, I had some great memories, good times, but there were far more traumatic and bad, and negative, than positive. But I tried to be self-aware of that stuff, and it's weird that this is coming full circle because I'm dealing with a lot of that stuff right now personally, and you do the best you can with that situation, but man, it's
what
no matter what you're going to reach a point.
You can very politely pass the ball over.